Yo guys, Live here, taking a look at the CL1, also previously known as the Talent Series from Puretrak. And this is actually a really unique cloth pad that's been around for like over a decade that I don't really have a direct comparison to in my collection. But if you're a fan of the QCK or Vaxi PA, it's definitely really similar to those, just with a slightly different speed and feel. So let's get right into it. It's 480 millimeters by 400 millimeters with a 6 millimeter thickness, but they really do have a lot of variations on their website. So if you want something smaller or something larger, they do have that. But personally, this size, 480 by 400 millimeters, is pretty much perfect. I don't see why you need something larger. And of course, thickness is preference, though even at 6 millimeters thickness, it's still really firm, but it's still easy enough to dig your fingers into for stopping power if you do that. The pad has no stitching, but the edges are still really soft, especially compared to the majority unstitched pads out there. Like, I reviewed a lot of esports tiger pads that are 6 millimeters, and these edges are softer for some reason. I think it's just in how they cut it, but it's great. And the base is still really good. I had no issues with it moving. You can see my desk moving, and it laid out pretty much perfectly flat after about a week. One thing I really didn't like about this pad, specifically this version that I've read about from other people as well, is that it smelled heavily like cigarette smoke out of the box, and it was actually so hard to get rid of. So I'd probably try to avoid this version if you have to, unless you really like the design, which is, again, like their other designs and other mouse pads. They always do a really good job on the design, and it looks really clean. So there is that. But yeah, that cigarette smoke, it took pretty long to get rid of. If you do buy this version, I'd recommend giving it a full wash in your sink, and then maybe just spraying it down with your favorite fragrance and leaving it to settle for a few days. The feeling of the surface is actually really smooth, and it doesn't really have that fuzzy feeling that cloth pads like the QCK or the Vaxi PA has. And with feeling it, you can actually feel the X and Y difference, with the Y being a lot smoother than the X. But really, it's only noticeable if you look for it. With your mouse feet, you don't feel that difference, but it's only a skin thing. The CL1 is definitely on the speedier side of cloth pads, with its speed almost matching something like an Aqua Control Plus, which, again, I have it right here. It's a much rougher pad in comparison. So you get the benefits of a comfortable smooth surface with a speedy glide. There's still enough control here that you could use in tack shooters. Pretty much any game this pad will be good for. And due to the firmness, it stays really consistent despite how much pressure you're putting on your mouse. So if you're someone who really pushes on their mouse like crazy that it affects your glide, you should definitely look into like a firm pad like this. Overall, other than the smell complaint, I really like this mouse pad, and I can see myself recommending it over something like a Vaxi PA or GSR SE or even a QCK in the situation where you want a bit more speed and, of course, more options with the designs and sizes. Also, I'm adding this in post because I forgot like an idiot, but if you purely play tack shooter games, you should definitely consider MF2 over the CL1, but they're both great pads. Like, for reference, if my main game was like Overwatch, Apex, or COD, this could easily be my main, just because it has those like cloth elements to it that like I'm so comfortable on. And if you ever ask me on my favorite pads, it's always a very cloth-like pads, so no surprise there, I guess. Anyways, if you got anything useful out of this, feel free to like and sub. And as always, any questions or thoughts, feel free to comment, and I always answer them ASAP. Peace.